He's ridden some great horses, Let's Elope, Shiver's Revenge, Naturalism, to name a few. But more often than not, jockey Simon Marshall has lost the ride on Australia's finest thoroughbreds in the big races. The question mark that hangs over his career has nothing to do with talent or determination. It's what he weighs when he jumps on the scales. Jeff Hutchison reports on a racing Weight Watcher, risking plenty to beat the bulge.
They think that you sit on a horse, steer it round and collect a cheque. We're out there going 60 miles per hour on top of horseback in $1.5 to $2 million races, going that quick, and we've got to make decisions in a split second. Otherwise you cause a fall, or you fall yourself, or you hurt this $1 million horse you're sitting on top of.
It's a familiar cry from the saddle. Nobody appreciates what it takes to be a jockey. To most of us mug punters, it seems pretty simple. For starters, you should be very short, talk in a funny, nasal, high-pitched voice, and every 40 minutes or so on race day, flash past the post in a blur of fluorescent silk, preferably out in front. Well, Simon Marshall is one jockey who'd love it to be that simple, but it isn't. For him, riding winners isn't the hard part, tricking his body's chemistry is. What's your natural weight?
64 to 65 kilograms. And I want to ride 54. So I'm looking to 10 to 12 kilograms underneath my natural weight, 6 months of the year, and you know that's a tough task, but your body's got to have a break, and when you come to near the end, you know, of 6 months, when your body's more or less, actually it's screaming for you to take a break because it just can't cope any longer.
And this is why his body starts screaming. For most mornings, here is where you'll find him, sitting in stifling heat, trying to squeeze another kilogram from what to the rest of us looks like a greyhound's frame. The fat went long ago. Now he wastes body fluids. I know the hard hearts of this game would just shrug their shoulders and say, "That's racing," a phrase which explains away any number of hard luck stories. But to an outsider, Simon Marshall is more than just losing weight, he's evaporating.
There's a lot of times come by that I feel like I shouldn't be doing this, and get very dizzy and very dehydrated, and I find that it's not worth it, you know, but you struggle through those times. It's like breaking the pain barrier. You've got to focus on what you want out of life, and well, I want a lot out of life in a short time.
And Durbridge will be too good. Durbridge wins it by 2 lengths. Durbridge first, Great Vintage second, Station Hand. But Durbridge scores brilliantly. Durbridge by just 3 lengths to out from pace.
Driven by Simon Marshall, 3 in a row. Manifold, Blaney and St.
He knows he's on borrowed time, and that sharpened his sense of purpose. In the autumn, Simon rode 6 Group 1 winners, 3 of them aboard the brilliant Durbridge for trainer Lee Friedman. It was confirmation that when his weight is under control, Simon Marshall is one of the finest big race jockeys in Australia.
He's probably got the best hands and the best balance of any jockey going around today, which is very important. Horses can feel that there's somebody on their back who's confident they know what they're doing, and you know, it shines through on the races, particularly the weight for age races, where a jockey's got to be an extremely good judge of pace and have a good empathy with the horse, and I think Simon's probably the best exponent of that in the business.
What do you like about him, and where do you think some of his success has come from?
He's a winner. Hates running second.
But there's a cost too. In March, Simon was suspended by Moonee Valley stewards for leaving the racecourse without permission. Earlier in the day, he'd failed to submit a urine sample for a random drug test. It all looked like reckless and suspicious behaviour, but it had more to do with wasting. He didn't submit a urine sample simply because he couldn't.
So when, say, the stewards call on me to give them a urine sample on call, well, I've got to go in there with my hands in the air. It's not that I'm on drugs. It's not that I'm a baddie or whatnot. I just cannot pass fluid.
But getting angry and leaving the racecourse was another matter, symptomatic of something more serious.
Do you find that you have some pretty wild mood swings?
Oh, definitely, yes. I could knock myself or, say, brush my elbow on a doorway. I'd turn around and hit the door 4 times with my fists and walk away with me hands all bruised and battered, just click like that, because I'm wasting. You know, I've got hunger in my body, I'm dehydrated, my head's going around in circles, 101 thoughts are going in my mind. But, you know, it's amazing. You brush your elbow on the door and it sort of, you hit your funny bone, you click and you're punching the wall 4 or 5 times flat out.
Yeah.
Sometimes a brick wall. Yeah, it's ridiculous, really.
Well, I never had to really stand him down because there's been a lot of times in the past where I've booked him for rides and he just hasn't shown up because his weight's been off or he's been crook from wasting. And, you know, I feel sorry for him for that, but I think he can improve. He can certainly improve on how he does it.
Righto, we've got a skivvy, garbage bag, T-shirt, garbage bag, and a second T-shirt. Now we whack the waterproof jacket on. Now we go and play squash for 1 hour and 3/4.
Although Lee Friedman considers his measures counterproductive, Simon can see no other way of staying in the saddle. By his reckoning, he can maybe endure this for another 5 or 6 years. It's just a little uncomfortable to watch.
I've actually seen him to the extreme where he's been outside, where he's just practically passed out and he's been shaking, you know, through trying to get the weight off outside, trying to cool off. He's been laying down with his eyes closed, actually shaking. That's the worst I've seen him. Yeah, that actually worried me a bit.
Great. Popped in for breakfast, have we? You beauty. This is what we can have. Got some orange juice, milk, some water for the main course. Let me fix you something. Been sport with icy poles today.
By now, you're probably under the impression that Simon Marshall is an obsessed Weight Watcher and the owner of Jekyll and Hyde personalities. Well, you'd be partly right. But what's more striking is his determination to be the best. It's Sunday afternoon in the corporate box of the Devon Meadows Footy Club. Out there, jockeys, strappers and trainers from Cranbourne and Caulfield are playing a charity match. Most of them are so bad, you feel they're the ones in need. But among some very short people with high nasal voices is a player kicking goals at will. It's a brief distraction from a tough existence.
I'd give up what I've got now, what I've achieved now. I'd give up everything to be a 51 natural lightweight. Because, mate, they wouldn't beat me. I'd go out there and win everything.
Now, are you going to celebrate?
Yeah, celebrate with a lolly, mate. We've got one in the last to go yet, so we'll have to wait. So they might have a mouthful of beer tonight after that.
Simon Marshall, and he's not the only one going through that torture. If that's not a case for introducing a minimum riding weight, I don't know what is. So over to you, racing officials. Later in the show, Rugby League's kangaroo coach Bob Fulton. And after the break, the latest disciple of Australia's great speedway heritage.
You know, I'm riding week in, week out. Some weeks I'm riding 3 or 4 times, other weeks just once. You know, through the rest of the week I'm riding either abroad or somewhere else, so...
And he was sort of more or less our 14th team member. You know, we won the premiership in '87 under him, and he was just a part of the team.